This meeting to order. City of North Kansas City, Missouri, regular council meeting, October 16th, 2018. Could we have a moment of silence? Don? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have any comments from the public?
Good evening. I've been in North Kansas City over 40 years, and I've had 3 businesses. And North Kansas City is unique, and the fact is you don't vote, but you pay taxes. So with that kind of situation, you have to get along with the city, and you have to have a good city and a good city manager and a good city council. And I want to say over the last 40 years, I've had that. And thank you for that. As I go down, I look at all of you, you all have done something for me, individually or as a whole. Like Tom, you came down to the restaurant along with the 2 Bettys. It's been a long time. The 2 Bettys were wonderful.
Yes.
Fred, you helped me out. You always warn me ahead of time when something's coming up. And Richard, were you there at the fire in '97?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's funny, I was up in Smithville years later, and Kansas City, Missouri firemen came up and said that they came over and they go to the chief and asked, what can we do? And he says, see that building there? He said, that doesn't burn. He's pointing at me. So I want to thank the fire department, and I'm sorry I gave you too many French fries to get you another stint. I'm eating the French fries too.
Yeah.
Zach, you're always a good friend at church and here. I appreciate everything you've done. Come over and the newbies over here. Brian, thank you for being nice about the Boy Scouts when they came in, my grandsons. And Rita, who can't like a person that attended Bart Kelly's? God love you. Now, Valerie, I've never worked with you individually, but I've heard from the council. I know what you've done for the city, and it's very much appreciated. And you're good for the city and everything else, even though we've never worked personally.
I enjoy your food, or did. I guess still do.
Thank you. And Bill was one of my first customers. He came in 1986 with a guy he was in business with in a collection agency, and we've talked politics, we've talked philosophy, we've talked religion. He's been a good friend, and thank you for everything you've done, Bill.
Thank you.
And Don, I remember you and your wife and I were sitting there complaining about the city council doing the no smoking thing. Well, now's your chance. You want to do something about it, do it now.
Yeah.
And one of the nicest things this council, the better things this council has done, and all the councils in the past, is I've been on commissions and boards over the Kansas City, Missouri all my life, and I know what staff is. And one of the best things you've done is the staff that you hired. I look at like Eric here. Eric was smart enough. I said, I'm going to talk tonight. And he says, you mind giving me a heads up? That's a good city administration. he didn't want no surprises. And Tom Barcy, he goes back with Preston. I think that was that's been more than 40 years ago, hasn't it? We've been working together. Yes. And the police department. God bless the police department. I was reading an article here. I'm going through getting all my articles and putting them together, and I come across this: a sports collection in North Kansas City, which I appreciate because a lot of times they don't say North Kansas City, draws visitors worldwide. And here it says, Chappell also places a great deal of trust in the North Kansas City Police Department. He believes that they have a 5-minute response.
Yeah.
I think I gave you 4 minutes. I think you're remember. Yeah, and I'll tell you what, you've done real great for me, and I appreciate everything the police department's done. Yeah, and of course we got a fire chief. He's on the job less than a week, and they burned half the town down. Dave, the fire department has been wonderful to me too. When they saved my building, I had fireman special for years, and I've always had good friends over there, and I appreciate everything the fire department's done also. And like I said, the people you hire, the chief, it's always nice you kind of stay within the departments, because I think you always get the best ones. And you hired Sarah Copeland. I know her background, and I think that's, I don't know where you created that position, I think, didn't they? Yeah, that was a very, very good thing. And I'd like to thank the Business Council for being in between, helping us all out. And Rich has been a good friend of mine. He's helped me out a lot. And I'm trying to think of anybody. Pat, don't want to forget you. Let me see. I want to say something real nice about you.
It's hard to think about it.
Well, I sure like you, Pat. And I'd like to put it in kind of a memory of Mike Smith. Mike used to come over and have lunch, and we discussed the city a great deal and what a great guy he was. And it's a real loss to the city when we lost him. Yeah. But we've replaced him, and that's good. And trying to think if I missed anybody's. But just to sum it up, I just want to thank you. It's great working with you all. It's been a real pleasure doing business in North Kansas City. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you've done.
I want to tell a little story about Mr. Chappell. You know, I used to be in the trash business, you know, and he had kind of a unique place where he put his trash, you know, and it was a real bitch to get it out of there, you know. And so one of my helpers suggested he do something different. And boy, he called me up, and I went down there, and he met me at the door. He says, "You know, goddamn trash man's going to tell me how to run my business." I said, "Oh." Anybody else?
It's hard to top that.
It's hard to follow, yeah.
Okay, consent agenda.
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, number 9.
Transfer of St. Patrick's parking lot to North Kansas City School District, Bill number 7333, ordinance number 9130.
Eric?
Thank you, sir. I'll call on the City Councilor, Tom Barzee.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, as you may recall, earlier this year, the city transferred to the North Kansas City School District what we call the COE lot. Interesting that we're having this discussion this evening in light of your earlier work session. Unfortunately, what we're talking about does not create any additional parking spaces, but what it would do is, if enacted, would transfer the St. Patrick's lot also to the North Kansas City School District with the same terms and conditions that were in the quitclaim deed where we transferred the COE lot. Just as you'll recall, at this particular point in time, the city only receives $10 a year in rental payments for the St. Patrick's lot. And this, if transferred, they would own it. They would be the owner of the property. However, what they would not do, they could never use it for any purpose other than for parking of their people. When it's not being used for their purposes during the school year, there's still a reservation in there that the city may use it. When they don't have activities going on, sometimes in the evening, they have a right to use it. But basically, it would allow the city to continue to use it pretty much as the city ever uses it, and not that we would use that particular lot very often. It also reserves the right to churches to continue to use that parking lot should they so desire. What it does is simply puts the ownership of the property there, but there are some significant reservations that are placed that are in the deed and are in my memo to you. I'm not going to read them to you. I think I pretty much explained them to you. And recently, I might add, right before we've done this, the city has put some lighting in there so that it takes care of any security issues that it at least will help. I won't say take care of them.
It brightened up the parking lot a bit. That was something we indicated that we would do, so we took care of that before putting this item on your agenda.
So if you have any questions, I'll be glad to address them.
Question, first of all, thank you for the putting the extra lighting in. Really, a couple of residents around there really appreciated that. As far as transferring this to the school district, then, is the school district going to be, as far as the maintenance, now they're going to be fully responsible?
Correct.
Okay.
Since we put the lighting in, will the lighting maintenance and payment of the lighting go to the school district also?
I'll have to
We're not-
defer that
We're
to
not-
my,
We're not
my
gonna pay for the
colleague
lighting
here.
for the school district, are we?
You know, I honestly, sir, I hadn't considered that. It's probably, if it's not in the agreement, it is something that,
Well, there is no, remember, there's no agreement. This is just transferring it. What I would suggest, if you're inclined to do it, because they're not going to act on this. I found out Friday that they're not acting on this until about a month from now, before they have to accept the deed. So I think you have some time to get that worked out, and we just won't have the mayor sign the deed until that's worked out.
Are those city lights, or are those KCP&L, or did we put those in, correct? So those are city responsibility?
so they are city lights
Okay.
now, and
Yeah, I
let me
agree with
take a
Tom.
look at
Take a look at it, yeah, and see.
I don't know
Yeah,
if you,
absolutely.
I mean, I don't know if that would keep you from acting tonight, but it's probably absent your question, it would have continued to be paid by the city. So it's not something we've actually discussed with them prior to tonight.
I mean, I just hate to pay for something that
Okay.
we're not going to utilize.
If this is okay, maybe there's something we can do. We actually have another city council meeting before they have their board meeting to accept it. So if you want to push this back till maybe 3 weeks from tonight, and then
I don't know that there's a rush on this item, though, so if it's something that you'd
You
like
want
an
to
answer to.
entertain a motion to table it till the next council meeting, then?
I'll second that,
I make the motion that we table that until the next council meeting.
and I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
could you, oh,
The clerk could clean up the motion that I made.
I was going to ask you if you'd table the next item too. They ought to be taken
Oh,
together.
okay, all right, fine. Yeah.
I'll move the table item number 10
Second,
until next council meeting.
second.
Second.
Yeah.
Okay, wait a minute.
All in favor?
Wait a minute.
She said
I
Who's-
tabled it,
Your table
Brian
10.
seconded it.
I think I have to call roll on a table, don't I? Okay.
Go ahead.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, number 11.
Okay. Number 11, agreement with Northland Festival Snake Saturday, resolution number 18-065.
Eric?
Thank you, sir. I'll call Mr. Barzee.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, before you this evening is our annual contract with Northland Festivals for the Snake Saturday Parade and related activities. It's really the same, other than dates have been changed, it's really the same agreement that we've had, that we had last year. Let's put it that way. Mr. J.D. Green with Northland Festivals is here. He'd be glad to answer any questions you have. But it is really the same contract, same amount, different dates, et cetera, as we've had for a number of years.
No question, just a comment that JD and Northland Festivals always do such a great job. So looking forward to another great year, and we'll work on the weather and making sure it's great for the parade. So. Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Number 12.
Services agreement with North Kansas City Business Council, resolution number 18-063.
Eric?
Thanks, sir. Annually, the city budgets for payments to the North Kansas City Business Council for services that are related to business development and retention in the city that Business Council provides. And in the fiscal year 2019 budget, the amount of this budget is $30,000. The arrangement that we've always had with the Business Council has been that actually, in many cases, it will simply forward invoices to us. That's usually the case from vendors that it works with. And then we pay them until the amount that was budgeted by the city council is exhausted. This is actually a very cumbersome system for both the the city and for the business council. We'd like to simplify it by simply entering into a contract. We would make them one lump sum payment at the beginning of the year, and then we'd be done. They would use that in any manner that works for them, and we would not have to worry about monthly administration of invoices. So a simple services agreement is before you for your consideration.
As far as the accounting, then, are we just going to get a report at the end of the year of how they accounted for the budgeted amounts spent, or?
Wasn't my intention, sir. We haven't been doing.
Well, we've been getting invoices and knowing kind of where the money's going.
Sure. Well, I guess so when you do your payments each council meeting you have.
Can we request maybe at the end of the year just some kind of simple report that shows how the money was spent? I mean, I have no problem giving it to the business council, and I think they're good stewards. I think,
you know, now that you mentioned it, there is in the contract a provision on page 4. Contractor shall periodically prepare and submit to the city such reports concerning the performance of the services required by this agreement.
Okay.
As we might require. So we can work with them to provide a report as to their activities.
And they've been good stewards, and I just, want to see the accounting, but.
Right, so it'll be a general report, not necessarily itemized, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
I'll make, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 13.
Approval of purchase, public safety robot for police and fire.
Eric. Thank you, sir. I'd like on the police chief, Steve Beamer.
Thank you, sir. Before you tonight is consideration to purchase a public safety robot. Over the years, we've identified situations where we have put, sorry about that, where we have put officers or firefighters at risk to try to do search and reconnaissance in areas where we didn't know what hazardous chemicals might be in an area, or if there was a suspect in an area that we couldn't see. The robot that we're looking to purchase tonight is called the PackBot. It's made by Endeavor Robotics. They do have a video showing what this robot is capable of. I will tell you right now, it is an advertisement, so it's something that they produced, but as far as understanding what the capabilities of this device are, this will give you an opportunity to see it. But before you see the video, I want you to know that we understand this is a significant expenditure. But if this device will go someplace where we do not have to put a police officer or a firefighter at risk to do search or reconnaissance, I think it has value for that. We intend to obviously share the device with our fire department as well as other police and fire departments in the Northland. So this is something where we want to allow the gaming funds to serve the community beyond us if there is a need for it. And that is our intent. And if we do deploy to another agency, one of our people is going along with it to manage the device and run the device, but at least it would give them eyes and ears in an area where they may not be able to do it otherwise. The device is going to have a thermal imaging camera on it. It does have, we're buying the extended warranty, spare batteries. It has extended front and rear flippers on it, so it does a better job of climbing up and down stairs, so we can put it into different environments. It's a pretty impressive piece of equipment. Kansas City, Missouri Police Department did research on different robots, tested several different ones. They chose this device as probably the most versatile one for their needs, and I put a lot of stock in the research that KCPD did on this. So if you'd like to see the video, we can show it so you have some idea of what you're getting ready to approve.
I got a question before you show the video. If the device were to be damaged in an event, is that covered under like insurance or warranty, or what's that covered under?
Probably wouldn't be warranty situation.
Probably insurance?
I don't know whether our insurance would cover something like that or not. We have not had any conversations with our insurance carrier about that.
And we would certainly insure it.
Okay.
It'll be insured.
We might have to talk about what would happen if it were damaged.
I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
What is the expected life expectancy of the robot?
They will not, there is no significant or no definitive life expectancy because every environment that it's put into could be different. I mean, they've had these things deployed overseas with the military. They've used them for bomb searches. They've used them for bomb disruptions. You're going to see on the video them shooting packages and things like that. We're not going to have bomb disruptors on our device. It's something that's capable of that. I believe realistically that we should be able to see 7 to 10 years out of this, depending on, we may have to replace batteries along the way. It may need maintenance along the way, but I'm hoping to see 7 to 10 years from it.
Are they pretty, would they stand up to like a firearm if it was shot, or?
I doubt it. It depends on what they shoot it with. A 22, maybe. Something like a 308, no.
Devices?
No. I mean, it's not an armored robot.
I had a question too. I saw you got the thermal cameras as well. Did we also get any of the chemical sensors or anything to detect?
Dave?
We already have the sensing devices that the robot would carry in with it.
Okay.
So we already have the stuff for the hazmat portion of that. This would just be a vehicle to take those into the atmosphere without having to send people in.
Perfect. Great. Thank you.
2 quick questions. One, I think the insurance is a good idea to check into, maybe a rider or something, not just if it's damaged, but also if it causes damage to anything, around it. And then the second thing was when the operator goes with it, if it goes to another community, so they wouldn't keep it for a while and then it would be unavailable to us. The operator and the robot would come back when they're done with their job. Is that how that would work?
That is correct.
Okay.
It would be deployed for a specific incident, whether police or fire, and at the end of that incident, it would come back.
Okay, so it's not like on loan to another
no.
city. Okay, good. Thank you.
Chief, have you or any of your officers actually seen this machine in operation or just a video?
I have not actually seen it in operation. I got the report from Kansas City where they did the assessment. They did the assessment on it about 7 months ago, I think, and they've got one on order through the Mid-America Regional Council. I tried to get one locally that I thought I could maybe get here tonight for you guys to see, and there's none in the region at this point.
Thank you.
But you'll bring it back to us at some point when you have it,
When
as
we
long as
get
we
it-
approve this item?
When we get it and get trained up, it's going to come visit you one night.
Okay, that sounds great. Wow, one night.
Can we play with it?
Let's see the video.
Get it all night.
No.
Let's see the video.
Okay, play the video.
The story of 510 PackBot is about one life-saving idea: increasing the standoff distance between you and a dangerous situation. Your job calls you into situations many would run from. A nuclear plant after a natural disaster, where radiation levels are high, a building deemed unstable during the wake of terrorism. Into a barricaded situation to assist with internal security, or to assess and render safe an explosive device or a CBRNE threat. 510 PackBot allows military, industrial personnel, and police to do their jobs at safer standoff distances than ever before. Battle-proven and subjected to extreme conditions, 510 PackBot is being used by thousands of operators around the world. PackBot deploys in a matter of minutes. Send it downrange with the tools and sensors that fit your situation. The base of 510 PackBot's manipulator arm and flippers rotate 360 degrees, allowing it to maneuver through rough terrain, negotiate obstacles, and fit through tight spaces, all while taking advantage of variable speed settings. Its precise movements allow for specific positioning of hazmat sensors, placement of countercharges or disruptors, and its 4 cameras allow you to inspect suspicious items in confined spaces in real time. The drive cam is a wide-angle lens, while the surveillance camera on the robot's head tilts and pans 360 degrees. 510 PackBot's powerful 312 times zoom gives you the ability to read a license plate, detect a leak, or inspect a suspicious device without compromising your safety. To further enhance visibility, PackBot's variable intensity LEDs, or optional thermal camera, gives you eyes on, no matter the time of day or situation. Even when the robot is non-line of sight, positioning and visualizing PackBot is not a problem. thanks to the 3D on-screen robot model. With just a few taps, command PackBot into preset poses. Two-way audio allows communication in a barricaded standoff situation or checkpoint operations that might last hours. Its lithium-ion batteries provide hours of continuous runtime on one charge. One of 510 PackBot's most prominent features is its manipulator arm. It allows for inspection of overhead compartments and around corners. Its gripper lifts up to 44 pounds and remains capable of completing critical, delicate movements. 510 PackBot is operated with a game-style controller paired with a rugged laptop or with a U-Point multi-robot control system where every robot movement can be controlled from your fingertips on the Android-based tablet. To reduce workload for you, the operator, 510 PackBot can, when equipped with an autonomy package, automatically right itself and continue the mission. Display an image of its location and travel path, complete with distance and GPS coordinates. Capture high-resolution images and mark points of interest. PackBot also has the ability to retrace its steps and re-establish wireless radio communication if it's lost. Given that degraded radio communications can be an obstacle in some situations, PackBot gives you the option to create a mesh radio solution. This system uses other platforms or fixed nodes that link to each other. Positioning them in strategic locations can extend operations further into buildings, widen your operating range, and enhance non-line-of-sight communication around corners, culverts, tunnels, and at the crest of hills. If your job calls for you to analyze and render safe hazardous devices, you can integrate valuable tools like portable X-rays or disruptors and perform the job remotely. PackBot can accommodate disruptors from many leading manufacturers. With the optional hazmat kit, PackBot will identify dangerous, hazardous materials from a safer distance. Multiple integrated sensors provide detection of toxic industrial chemicals, volatile organic compounds, and radiological matter. PackBot also detects and reports temperature and humidity, placing greater standoff distance between you, your team, and the dangerous situations you face. Can save time, save money, and most importantly, save lives. 510 PackBot is already doing this for thousands of operators around the world. Let PackBot work for you.
That's the PackBot.
Mr. Mayor. Okay, we got a motion? Mr. Mayor.
Some questions?
I'd just like to say, a lot of people will probably say, what's Little Northtown need with this robot? We've had many, when I was on the fire department, and I know that the police department, just right down the street from me was a meth lab. And, we had to send people in, and those meth labs have a terrible habit of exploding, So we do need one of these, I feel. And many times we got called for hazardous materials, on the fire department. They used to make some nasty stuff in this town. I imagine there's some of them still do. Legal stuff I'm talking about for, production. But when people ask you Little Northtown, remember, the Little Northtown has the possibilities of big towns, so I'm glad to see you get it. I thought it might be better looking, more like the cops or something.
Sorry. Yeah, it's not a device we're going to use every day.
No.
But when we need it, nothing else can replace it.
How many men train on that, and how long does the training take? Do you have any ideas?
It's a one-day training course. They're coming in to train us on it. I'm going to have several members of our department involved in the training. I want, Dave's people are going to be involved in the training. So once we get it, and the lead time on this is about 6 months. I plan on probably delivering the PO to them tomorrow, and it may be up to 6 months before we receive this, just because they have to build them.
Where do they build them?
The company is based out of Massachusetts. Yeah, I knew it was somewhere in New England. But so we won't see it right away, but when we do, we'll schedule a training day. We'll get several people up to speed. And the U-Point is the system we're going to have. We're going to have the tablet-style controller for it. I believe it's pretty intuitive. And so once we start to learn how to handle the basics on it, one person can show another person how to manipulate it if necessary. It comes preloaded with certain positions on it. So if you need the lock low, lock high, whatever, you can have all of that already in it. Push a button, it'll position itself appropriately for that setting.
That'd be cool. Can we blow something up?
No?
So the only accessory you guys are getting with it is that thermal camera? Is that,
That's what we're purchasing from Endeavor.
oh, but you can get other?
There's other devices. We have identified another company, and Endeavor helped us find this company that makes a glass breaking tool. So if we go up to a car, tinted windows, can't see inside, you can put this tool up against the glass. It's basically a battery-powered impact hammer. As soon as it touches the glass, it'll shatter the glass, so now you can see inside. They make a device that is a spring-loaded door stop, for lack of a better term. So if the PackBot goes up to a door and starts to pull a door open, you can have this device placed on the door, and it's, like I said, it's spring-loaded, so as the door starts to come open, it'll come around and hold the door open, so then the PackBot can see inside, or if necessary, use the tracks to open the door further to move inside. So those are devices that are much less expensive that we're looking at adding to our options, but we're not purchasing them at this time.
Okay, and are there chemical evaluation, is there a chemical evaluation type of tool that can go with it that can evaluate, or is that part of the base product, or?
But that is an option you can purchase, but we did not go with that option because the fire department already has those chemical assessment tools that the PackBot could carry into a scene with it.
So whatever tools you have, you could do that. And then the Wi-Fi extenders that it showed on there, where you can extend the Wi-Fi range, does that come as part of it?
We're not buying them at this point.
Okay.
We're spending a lot of money the way.
Yeah, no, I'm not asking.
And
you to spend more. Just to clarify,
and I mean,
I'm just kind of curious as to what we're getting with the first purchase of it.
The extenders, if we get it and we start discovering that we've got some range issues with it, we've been told that we shouldn't have range issues. But if you get into a heavy concrete building where you're trying to shoot the signal through 2 or 3 walls, we may have to take a step back and consider buying the extenders
Okay,
for
well,
it.
that's kind of why I asked, because in some of our industrial buildings, I don't know that the range would be very good, because of the thickness of the walls, but.
This is one of those things I think we need to get it,
And then figure
work
it out
with
from
it,
there.
and if we identify something that is needed like that, then we
Come
may be
back to
talking
us,
next
yeah,
year.
okay. And have these been in other communities actively for a long time, and are there success stories in other communities?
I cannot relate any specific success stories with it. They have several thousand of these that have been built and deployed. The company used to be iRobot, and now it became Endeavor. iRobots have been out there for 15 years, roughly.
Okay, I've heard of those.
And the military has used these a lot overseas.
Okay, thank you for your information.
Move to approve. Second.
Aye.
Tree purchase and installation contract, resolution number 18-064.
Thank you, sir. I'll call on the Public Works Director, Pat Hoffer.
Thank you. On Thursday, October 23rd, 3 sealed bids were opened for tree planting services. The review of the submittals and discussions with the apparent low bidders, staff determined that the submittal by Sunset Landscapes LLC is the lowest and best bid. The 2018-2019 transportation budget includes $26,000 for tree planting. Based on the bid submitted by Sunset for $265 per tree, up to 95 trees can be planted this year. Rather than specifying 1 or 2 species of trees to be planted, we specified several different species so we could have a variety of a larger diversity of trees. This follows the Missouri Department of Conservation's recommendation to diversify trees in case there's a disease that hits one, like the emerald ash borer or that type of thing happens. So we're going to have a diversified plantings this year. Resolution approving a contract with Sunset Landscape is before you for your consideration.
When are they going to start that? Did you tell me November?
Right now, it looks good for the first week in November to start.
Because, you know, my tree was removed and the next door neighbors had to be removed because they was dying or whatever. So I wanted to, she asked me and I was going to tell her, I thought it was November. And if you want to write it down, we both want the red maple. I've seen it. It was on the list. I'm not saying you're doing anything special. It's on the list. So.
Yeah, we have enough, because of this really low bid, we have enough to cover all of the replacement trees without a problem this year.
Give you the thorny locust.
I actually wanted a 30-foot shade tree that looked like it came down, but I guess I'm not going to get that.
I noticed that those locusts have been taken down there by where the building burned out. Are they going to be replaced or?
Well, we don't know at this point. They will be eventually, but we took them out because, one, they weren't that good a shape, and two, it was pretty much impossible for them to do their work with those trees in front.
Yeah, you would wait till after something gets built before you plant anything.
Yes, we have we're in the preliminary engineering study on the renovations of Armour Road or streetscape, which will include trees, new trees.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 15.
Approval of purchase police vehicle in-car camera systems.
Eric?
Thank you, sir. I'll call on the police chief, Steve Beamer.
Thank you. Before you for consideration is the approval to purchase replacement in-car camera systems for our 10 marked units. These are the systems that are already in the vehicles are WatchGuard. We're going back with WatchGuard because when we purchased the body cams 2 years ago, we purchased WatchGuard body cams because everything is integrated. The body camera video, the in-car camera video all syncs up, so you've got a much more comprehensive capture of the images between the car and the body camera. WatchGuard makes a good product. We are buying the extended warranty on this for 5 years. But I think the key to this is we are starting to see aging and some problems with the existing system. It's part of our normal replacement schedule to get these purchased and installed. And so we want to stay with the same system that allows for full integration with the body cams. Pricing is competitive with other similar products from other manufacturers. And so that's the item before you tonight.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
16.
Approval of purchase replace leaf vacuum machine.
Eric?
Thanks, sir. I'll call on Mr. Hoffer.
Thank you. 2019 transportation budget includes $70,000 for a purchase of a new leaf vacuum machine. Staff researched various commercial leaf vacuum manufacturers and determined that Old Dominion Brush Company offers the highest quality leaf collection systems. Our two current vacuums are Old Dominions, and they have lasted about 25 years each. Old Dominion offers a discount of $4,759 through a competitive purchase contract with Sourcewell Discount, formerly known as NJPA. We've done a lot of purchasing through them. The total cost, including freight and training, is $63,221. Unfortunately, it takes a minimum of 60 to 90 days to ship the machine, which is common in the industry, so it won't be available to use this fall, but it should be available we have a 1-week spring leaf pickup. So there's no objections. We'd like to go forward and purchase this soon.
Our old machines will last until then, till we get delivery.
Yeah, well, the problem is, over the years, they've just, one of them or the other one will just break down, and then that leaves one crew out there instead of two crews at the same time, and it's hard to keep up, and we get complaints. So the other one better hold up.
I'm assuming then when the new one comes in and it's up and running, that we'll decommission one of the two old ones that we have now?
Yes.
Put it on Purple Wave, I'm assuming?
Yes, sir.
How old is the one that we're going to keep, you know, Pat?
Well, I'm told they're both purchased around 1993. So it's about
old.
25 years old, both of
Okay.
them. One that we're getting rid of has experienced more breakdowns than the other one.
Well, it sounds like we need it, so.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Number 17.
Approving accounts due and payable by the city through October 12, 2018. Bill number 7334, ordinance number 9131.
First reading.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance authorizing payment for certain accounts due and payable by the city through October 12, 2018.
I move that bill number 7334 be placed on second and final reading and passes ordinance number 9131.
Second.
Call roll.
Councilmember Farr?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember DeLong?
Yes.
Councilmember Pierce?
Yes.
Councilmember Pearman? Yes. Councilmember Sanders?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Clevenger?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Stewart?
Yes.
Councilmember Stefan?
Yes.
An ordinance authorizing payment for certain accounts due and payable by the city through October 12, 2018.
Okay. I guess, Eric, you up?
Yes, sir. We'll begin staff comments. I'd like to call on the Assistant City Administrator, Kim Nakahodo.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'd like to give you a little update on the Timothy C. Crummett Beautification Committee and some of the work that they are doing. Over the last couple of months, we've met a few times and we have identified our first project. Our first project will be a large public art sculpture, and it will be located in Richards Park, which is on the northeast corner of Armour Road and Iron. The Greater Kansas City Community Foundation, who is the holder, they are the fund that dispenses that Timothy C. Beautification Fund to the city, has approved that project. So that was kind of our first task, was to make sure that the project that was identified by the committee was approved by the fund holder, and we have received notification that that was approved. Our next step will be a call to artists, which we are hoping will be released in the first week of November. And within that call to artists, the committee has put together kind of some themes for that large-scale public piece of art, and it details the history of North Kansas City, the relationship with the high school, and actually some of the committee members have talked about perhaps the mascot, perhaps the North Kansas City mascot might be a theme for the public sculpture. So kind of just to break it down on the next steps, the call to artists would be open for several months. There would be we would try to get a local artist. That would be one of the things that we are trying to get, as a local artist, but this would be a national call, and it would be a juried process, a blind juried process. So that blind juried process would begin in February, with the hope with a piece would be installed in probably the fall of 19. So if you guys have any questions, once that call is actually published, we are using a national clearinghouse for public art to help get a wider net of artists to respond to our public art call. And once that is done, we'll put that and we can review. That way you guys can maybe pass it along to some of the people you may know. Do you guys have any questions about that project?
Anybody ever figure out who the Crummitts were?
I traced them back. It's actually the bridge, the book that's actually in that cabinet over there kind of details some of the Crummett family history. But that fund, we're the benefactor, and actually multiple organizations within the Kansas City region benefit from that, including the Children's Hospital and Waterworks Park are also benefactors, along with the city for beautification efforts and the Mackin Park.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. A few things. First of all, just a reminder to the council that we do have a special work session next week, October 23rd at 6 p.m. That'll be at Fire Station number 1, and that will be regarding the Burlington Corridor plan. Our engineer would like to update you on the progress so far and perhaps get some direction on a few things. So that's at 6 o'clock at Fire Station 1. Don't know if everybody noticed, our new City Hall monument sign is up on Armour Road. at the Armour Road entrance to City Hall. It looks great and certainly looks a lot better than what used to be there. So take a look if you haven't seen it. I did note for you last week, but just like to note that Shirley Land and her staff were once again received the GFOA Certificate of Achievement for their fiscal year 2017 Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. So congratulations to Shirley. It's something that's almost become routine, but it does reflect a lot of work and effort.
Still special every year.
Yes. We are just regarding the November 6th meeting date. I'm not planning on having a work session on that date because it is election day. There's a lot on the ballot this year, so people have a lot to vote on. November 20th, my aim would be to have a discussion at your work session on the future of the farmers market. Also, it's a little bit in advance, but thought I would just ask, looking at January, the first Tuesday in January is January 1st. So my question was, would you like to reschedule that meeting that would otherwise be held that date for Wednesday, January 2nd?
Yes, please.
Do we aim for the next day? Right.
Might be smart.
All right. Wednesday, January 2nd is what we'll plan on. And that's all I have, sir. Thank you.
See, are you up? Speak.
Speaking of the leaf eradicators, when do they do out, Pat? The leaf picker-uppers, when do they do out? When is their...
Oh, there's no designated time. It's just when the leaves fall. It's a little different each year. And the program ends, that's each year, it's different too.
Right. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, I got a few things. I'll start with a question for Sarah. I saw we have we're sponsoring a Metro Blue program coming up. I don't know, any more information on that?
I'm sorry, I don't have the dates in front of me. There are two workshops coming up this month. This is being organized by the KCMO Parks, and they're really wanting to bring people together to talk about riverfront redevelopment. Mark has a Metro Green program that's focused on trails, so they're branded this Metro Blue since it's along the river. And those are later this month. I know one is on the 29th. And there's a second date before that. So it's just, they are asking people to RSVP if you're planning to attend so that they know how many people are coming. And they have a landscape architect that's facilitating the meeting and people coming in from Omaha, I think that's right, to talk about riverfront redevelopment in that city as an example.
Perfect. Sorry, I just seen it online and saw it on our fences as well, so get a little bit more on that. Other than that, we do have, this last weekend was the Pint Path. Had a good time. The NKC Now and River North put that together. Actually hit up 20 businesses on Saturday, so I had a very busy day. So it was a good time. Also tomorrow, if you have a chance, the Coffee Connect from 7:45 to 9 a.m. I won't be able to make it, but there will be two great presenters, and Sarah and Kim will be presenting tomorrow morning, so if anyone has a chance to make that. Friday is Future Hornet Night, the high school. They're having a tailgate from 5 to 7. They did it last game, too. All the food was $1. I think they had barbecue, hot dogs, chips. I mean, everything was just $1. So, and I think it's also, the kids can get in for free, maybe. Within $1. Maybe, I can't remember what the deal was, but other than that, the high school's also having their halfway celebration this Saturday from 10 to noon. And I believe that's at the gym. I don't know. I thought it was last weekend, so I showed up last weekend and toured the school, and no one else is there. So, that's all.
I don't have any comments tonight.
I don't either.
I don't either.
I got a bunch. First of all, you mentioned the City Hall sign out here. I was walking up and I saw it. I really like it, so it looks really good. And I also want to thank Chief Beamer for his report again on the parking at the high school. I also want to congratulate Mr. Chappell on his retirement and for his many years of being a business owner in North Kansas City, and we certainly appreciate him as well. A couple of things. Again, the Hornets, I said it last time, still saying it this time, they're still undefeated. And I'm planning on going to the game this Friday, so hopefully they can win again. Parks and Rec, October 27th, Spooky what is it, Spooky in Neverland, something like that. So 11 to 4, great, always a great event. So come on out if you have children to the Parks and Rec event. Couple of quick questions. Pat, you said the tree trimming on the low branch and low hanging branches, has that started yet, or are they going to start it pretty soon?
That was already completed
Okay.
last week, yes.
All right, so if we still see one or two that maybe be low, just send it to you, or?
Sure.
Okay. And then I noticed also from walking the city that the sidewalk over by the burned out building is still closed off because of the demolition. Do we have any idea of possibly when that might open back up, or, you know?
The sidewalk,
On the, let's see, it'd be on the south side. It'd be the southwest side.
yeah, that's going to be a while.
Be a while, okay.
Yes, they're going to provide fence so you can walk in the street, be fenced and protected on both sides.
Okay.
And until the project's done, which I'm told may be not next October, there'll be no sidewalk.
Okay, good to know, just to let residents know and for us to know, so, thank you. That's it.
You know, you may have to help me here, Chief, because I said I won't forget, but then I did. The awards coming up, Rick Landon and his partner from that day or night, whatever it was, they got in that shootout.
Sergeant Dan Justice and Officer Rick Landon, yes, sir.
Oh, okay, and they're going to be, with Kansas City Metro or something?
The Kansas City Metropolitan Chiefs and Sheriffs Association has awarded those two officers with the Gold Award for Valor for their actions in January of this year, and the officer involved shooting where Officer Landon was shot up in Sunny Hills. We nominated the officers for the consideration of the committee, and I'm very proud to say that they were recognized for their efforts. So they'll be receiving that award towards the end of November.
And I've talked to Rick Landon, and only because he's a friend of mine, I said, for many years, I said, thank God it hit you in the head, or you could have really been hurt. So, let's see. Congratulations to Shirley again every year. I mean, this is like winning an Oscar every year for the same person. But congratulations. I got 23rd. Oh, I won't be here on the 23rd, but I think I told you that the night you asked. I won't be back until the next day. I did get some calls, and I've shared this with the Parks Department. I got a call from Animal Rescue, Greyhound Rescue, whatever their name is. But that's what they do. They rescue greyhounds from after their time and running's over with.
Is it REGAP?
Huh?
REGAP? Or?
No. It'll come to me when I get home. But anyway, they stopped by while they was in town and used the dog park. And she did not blame any city employee or the Parks Department. She blamed the proper people. She said, it's really nasty. I can't say nobody. So many people are not picking up after their dogs in that park. And I would know because I have cats and they don't want to go down there. But she was real nice and passed on some suggestions, which I shared with the Parks Department, and they'll probably bring it up at your next meeting. It's more signage. The only sign there that tells you to clean up after your dog is the long list they have of rules, and nobody reads those. And she said usually they have big signs about that. Then she said in some parks, the big ones, Minneapolis has one, they have cameras up. And they don't necessarily have to work, But anyway, the parks, this is their tallywag. And she just asked that maybe they try something because it must have been really bad that day. She should have came the day after the 11-inch rain. I bet it was cleaned up then. Let's see. Just remind everybody about the employee banquet Friday, isn't it? Right. Okay, well, I guess that's it.
Well, when you go last, about everything's been said. I will reiterate a few things, a couple things maybe. And one is about Mr. Chappell, Jim Chappell. Some of you may know of Ken Burns. He produces these documentaries that are very long and detailed. And some years ago, gosh, I don't want to think how many years ago it is now, he did a documentary called Baseball. And it was in 9 segments. And each segment was 2 hours in length. And so you had 9 of them, 9 innings. And I know it was struck me when they interviewed Buck O'Neill in that documentary, and he was interviewed there at Chappell's restaurant. That's not just a restaurant. That is a museum. He's got some things there that are just unbelievable and very, very expensive. So he's definitely going to be missed. And I just another boy to Shirley for her award again. That's all I'll say tonight.
Like you say, it's all been said. I haven't got nothing. Okay, number 21.
Consideration of a request to hold and recess into an executive session as requested by the city administrator to be held on this date on a personnel matter pursuant to Missouri Revised Statute Section 610.0213.
So moved.
Call roll.
Councilmember Farr?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember DeLong?
Yes.
Councilmember Pierce? Yes. Councilmember Pearman? Yes. Councilmember Sanders?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Clevenger?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Stewart?
Yes.
Councilmember Steffen?
Yes.
Oh,